In a world where global communication is connecting us in many ways, we need to stay connected. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Welcome to the world of Athalos.
So, welcome to this episode, the episode where we discuss these sustainable development goals. I'm happy to be here with you, Zubair. Hi, Zubair.
Hi, Céline. Hi.
And Martijn.
Good morning.
Good morning. And I would really love to discuss with you what we do with the sustainable development goals and what will be the future, how we think we can reach these sustainable development goals. And my first question for you is, Martijn, what was your reason to work closely with the United Nations Global Compact in the Netherlands?
The reason is all about social responsibility that we have to take in life. As a human being and as a company of human beings, it is important to find in a world of, social responsibility, the right engagements of institutes, of science, of companies that are embracing a combination of social responsibility action, which is important. It is what is triggered also with the UN Global Compact of the Netherlands, and of course is to release, from our point of view, from Athalos, the world where what we are living in, and how can we support from Athalos communication services the world of the digital revolution. So that brings us to an opportunity that we got to find a membership with the UN Global Compact, thanks to Zubair, which most probably will tell more about that, is that how can we make a program together that is aligning the SDGs towards Athalos and its partners and vis-a-vis. So we started last year with first interaction, conversations. What do we see together? How can we align our goals in the SDGs? And how can we make it first small to build really action plan? And I think, but Zubair will tell a bit more later about that, is what we are up to even in these times of pandemic and limitations in our freedom, which makes it even more for us important to do what we have to do, and that is connecting the world.
Thank you, Martijn. And Zubair, can you tell a bit more about what we currently do, what we try to reach within Athalos related to the SDGs?
Well, I think, thanks, Céline. I think the SDGs provide this lovely framework of how businesses can build on what Martijn talked about, being responsible. And I think we all know that we have a role to play in society. We all want to see better things happen around us and for the people that we work with. So this notion of going beyond corporate responsibility, I think, sits nicely within this framework of the SDGs. The other beauty of the SDGs that we found is that it's a universal language. It's something that everyone is now learning to speak and understand, and that in its essence is bringing us all together. We know that the corona times have been really unusual for everyone everywhere. We've all been affected in some way, shape or form. And if I look at it from a business perspective, the SDGs now, I think, mean more focus on impact and business doing more good. So for me and for us at Athalos, it's actually a no-brainer that we should be adopting the SDGs. We were already doing so much good work anyway, but aligning ourselves with the SDGs more formally and through the partnership with the Global Compact, made sense, but it allowed us to be more structured in our approach in doing good. It helped us to learn more about the amplification of the work that we do in our everyday business and the services that we provide. And it also goes back to something that Martijn talks about regularly, which is about humanizing this space and enabling people through accessibility and communication. So I think, just back to your question, I think it was a no-brainer. And I'm so delighted that we were able to move forward on our own journey of doing good and being responsible, or being more responsible, by adopting the SDGs formally, and obviously aligning and partnering with the Global Compact in Netherlands.
Okay, thank you, Zubair. And back to Martijn, I saw that you launched the Athalos Foundation. Is that something related to the Sustainable Development Goals as well?
Yes, Céline, thank you for touching that. It's just fresh on the needle. We are reinventing ourselves, which we already said in our last podcast. In my opinion, every 6 months. And this is, let's say, an heuristic role that I found out in the past years. So that means for me personally, how I'm reinventing myself to still continue and play a role as a human being in this life, to transform it to ideas, plans and actions that are fitting in nowadays technology and the world of social responsibility. There's a big interaction process. So as we are sharing our thoughts to the world, is that we think in platform of platforms. That means, I don't want to become too technical, but if we look at software as a service platforms, we see that the Ubers, the Airbnbs, the known Facebooks, are all using infrastructure to be efficient and to be effective, and like Zubair mentioned, create impact on a global scale to start engagements. Whatever the reason is for having all kinds of services, for us as Athalos, is to become a world leader in global connectivity services. We had a lot of obstacles. I think we have shared that also in the podcast before. This is our journey of Athalos. And in the meantime, we are struggling a lot with incidents, roadblocks, resistance, of the machines, whatever they are in our universe, but we are facing them. So we thought in the past weeks about what is the impact on the global identities, for instance. Okay, and I want to say something about that wordings because it's mentioned a lot in the media already. Due to privacy statements, the GDPR, we all know we must be very careful with identities. Identities is your bank account number, is your eSIM card of your mobile phone. It is your social security number. In the line of your passport, you have your number. These are the legal identities that are confirmed and approved by governments or banking institutions. We are finding out all the time that, and I want to refer to the Athalos.tech website, which is the tech platform of Athalos.com. So it's a minimalistic page of our vision of the future. And like Zubair mentioned, humanizing the digital world with voice is a campaign for us, humanizing, which is essential, specifically in the time of the world we live right now, where we have our limitation. The digital world, we all know it can be very tough, it can be very hard, it can be, although it seems to be we are interacting, but it's getting less personal. We all know what happened with Twitter, with the former president of the United States. What is the impact on that? And of course the voice, we should use more our voice in the world. That means also on using the voice later on in artificial intelligence is becoming more important to use our unique and digital identity, our voice, which is also unique, into the digital world. So I want to give very shortly a small preview already about Athalos Foundation. We will tell more about that in the next podcast because the Athalos Foundation is, let's say, building a vaccine is quite tough, as we all know, Distributing that is even more tough. Getting it legalized is part of that process. So there are a lot of similarities that we found out with this pandemic period, with this vaccine, and with the suppliers of that, and the diversification in the world. So that parallel we brought back to a thought that we had based also on the SDGs. Okay, how can we build more social responsibility? How can we create identities? So our plan is now from the 1st of February to develop our own digital identity. And we are ready for that launching. So I have really some news also in the next podcast, is that the Athalos Foundation will do a couple of things, and it's already on the website, okay? It's work together and compete at the same time on different dimensions. If we are going to later distribute these digital identities. That means we want to work together on these digital identities and platforms together with partners. Because it seems to be, and there are some institutes in the world that are releasing identities, but it's not regulated. And we want to play a role in that. So we are building a pact with several companies now that Athalos Foundation will be the source of the identities, but will build an ecosystem for the future together with these tech partners that are known by name and fame. I will come later back to that. So explore topics for the future like personal online data storage, which is becoming very important. We call it POTS. So your personal data must be stored somewhere, and that must be secured. We all know about blockchain. We all know about AI. We all know about, let's say, capturing data through the infrastructure that we have, which means connectivity towards data warehousing, let's call it like that, must be very good equipped and regulated. Sustainable circulation economy, it's important to think about that and to act on that. So we are working on the plan. And there is an important technology advancement going on, which is called open mesh infrastructures and quantum communications. That's on a higher level. Where can I use my, let's say, personal device, which could be your mobile phone or your iPad or whatever, your virtual reality, let's say, environment, is that you want to have access everywhere. So open mesh infrastructures can help with that, but again, also that needs identities. So long story short, we call it the FDI, the Foundation of Digital Identities. We are going to announce 10 up to 100 trillion digital identities in a specific code. And the reason is not only because we see the market, which is push-pull, which needs it, but we also found out that building our own identity platform will hopefully lead to less struggle. Because I must admit, the bureaucracy worldwide is very strong. If we talk also about new innovations that needs better time, better understanding. But sometimes the other side of the table doesn't want to know that, doesn't want to see that, and doesn't want to help. So this is the reason also why we brought it back to our environment. It says, let's do it ourselves. Let's build this vaccine. Let's build the connectivity to distribute the vaccine. And let's help with a very clear proposition that connects us to who we want to connect. So that's a little bit of the summary of the legal identities that we want to explore. And I'm happy to mention that already in this podcast is that we are ready for the future.
Yeah, I see. Thank you, Martijn. And this sounds really amazing. Also really futuristic, innovative. So you make us really curious.
Thank you.
Zubair, what do you think of this foundation?
Well, I was just going to add to what Martijn is saying, that I really want to point out that what creating digital identities does, it means that we're enabling inclusivity. And what that effectively means is we're giving rights back to people that may not have access to the basic human rights. I mean, this is a game changer in itself. So I'm really excited about where this is going and what this means for people that are displaced, refugees perhaps, people that are often overlooked, and those people that just aren't included in mainstream society. So yeah, I'm really excited about the future of this.
Yeah, and Zubair, what do you think will this mean for people?
Well, like I said, it's going to enable inclusivity. But, we started this year already with a very different view of the actions that we need to take and how we jointly address the challenges of the world around us. And obviously we were looking from a very different lens to 2020 and 2019 and prior to that. We know the world around us is very different 10 months, 11 months on. But I think the sentiment, certainly within Athalos, and I know within our wider networks and our friends, in tackling these challenges, from food poverty to climate action to even identity and privacy, is very much alive. And we've seen, that from the growing number of campaigns and fundraisers that people are hosting, online and offline, to the support that businesses have been providing their own people and doing their part the best they can. That there's this renewed vigor for doing good, a sense of collective responsibility, now more than ever before. And that's a great springboard for the SDGs, but also that's where this program sits. So looking at things beyond our kind of normal comfort zone, beyond our normal range of services and products. And you can sense in Martijn's voice that there's this energy about what this means. It's exciting. It's like when you see science experiments with the bottle of soda with the mints. I'm not going to mention the brand names, and it just erupts like a volcano. That's where we are with this. And we know that this has been a very different year, like I say, for everyone, everywhere, and that extends to people that we don't even know. From the way we work to the way we interact. And what a different way of doing things is highlighted, certainly to us at Athalos, is that we're able to become closer, we're able to build new relationships, and we're able to have wider conversations, but also widen the conversations that we're having with people. And that's why we've changed the way that we're bringing people together. So now it's going back to that collective responsibility that Martijn was talking about, because we know there's a lot more to say, but there's also a lot more to do. And I think, if we can share and do something where we can act together in achieving the world that we want to live in, and that's Martijn's vision and philosophy, all of us here at Athalos are looking forward to deepening the understanding amongst the global business community so we can act better, act smarter, and collectively achieve the SDGs. And that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I see. Thank you, Zubair. So as far as I see now, we already do so much trying to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, and we keep on doing it. Now it's really the time for action. Really happy to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to the next podcast. Curious about all these activities related to Athalos Foundation, but also curious on the activities of athalos.com, athalos.tech, athalos.world. So lots more to come.
Thank you. Thank you, Céline, and look forward to share next time another important announcement, because we are heading to the 1st of February that the athalos.com will release 3 new programs. So let's talk a little bit later about that subject, please.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the world of Athalos.